Okay, so for this, I've drawn one shape in pencil, and I don't want any shading. If you do use pencil, just use it to get the placing of each of those shapes where you want it on the paper. Ideally, don't have things going off the edge. Leave a little space in the foreground so there's, again, your shapes aren't right at the bottom of your page. So they're sort of maybe 2 or 3 inches up from the bottom where you start. And then again, the top of the composition, maybe 2 or 3 inches from the top of the paper. So it's contained in that bottom 2/3 of the page. All right. So I'm going to get going now, and I'll stop you in about half an hour. Well, at 7, just over 23 minutes, and have a look at what you've done, okay? Whether it's in pencil or whatever. So off you go, and let's see how we get on, and ask me if you want to ask me anything. Now, this is for anybody that has difficulty in drawing symmetrical objects. I have a piece of tracing paper here, And I'm just going to check on this vase that I have mirrored the shape on the other side. So I'm tracing off one side of it, and I think it's perfectly permissible to do this. I'll roughly draw in where the center of that shape is, so it's about there. Okay. Now I've obviously got to have that shape. When I turn it over, I need to do the shape in the same way. So I'm turning it over, and then I can check whether or not I think I've actually drawn it symmetrically. It's not bad. I don't think it's bad what I've drawn. Can you see that? Chris?
Yes.
Can you see what I've done?
Yes.
I traced this half of my pot, or my vase rather, drew a line to indicate where the center was, and then folded my paper over and just marked where the center is in the vase, turned it over, put the center on that line, and I can see that I've more or less, I think this bit here needs to be, there's a little bit hanging out, so I'm going to change that little bit of the vase and bring it in a bit. Okay, so I can see that I've drawn it symmetrically. And I think, you know, if you've got objects like mugs, it's quite a good idea to just double check that you have actually drawn them symmetrically, because that they are symmetrical, and it will look much better when you come to put the pen and ink in if you've actually drawn it correctly. The other thing I do is I draw the bottom of a shape. I can draw it all the way through the shape here, even though I'm not going to actually draw it in the end. And then I can see where it's coming out the other side, so that it looks convincing. It doesn't sort of suddenly appear from nowhere. So I'm just drawing that in. Now, I would obviously then rub this out because I don't need that line there, but it was helpful to put it in. And similarly, just look where things appear behind other objects. Check against the shape and say to yourself, okay, it's coming out wherever it's coming out. And that's useful to use those points to help you. process I used with this was that I put the light washes in first, and then I did the mid-tone washes, then I did the darks, and then I went, once it had dried, I then went over it with a fine liner, a pen, to sharpen up the shapes and put more detail in. So I think that's the best way to work. Wouldn't start with your pens, because if you start with your pens, and that most of them are water soluble, you'll find that the line will run as you put the washes on. So it's better to get the washes down first and then use your pens. Okay, easy for you to see. Okay, so if you think about where your eye level is, so hold your pencil out from your eyes and just imagine when you see it, have your arm stretched out and see how high or where the relationship of that eye level is to the tallest shape.
Okay.
Now, okay, I mean, I can't see what you've got, so I'm going to have to just imagine it. You may have, and I think you did have 3 jugs. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I've just randomly, sorry, you won't be able to see this very well. I've randomly drawn some circles. Okay. Can you see those?
Yes.
Okay. Now this one is obviously closest to the eye level, so it will be narrower. So what you can do, if you don't find it easy to draw it, is do a straight line and then do the top ellipse, which might be a little low curve. Turn your paper around and then do the matching ellipse, with the paper upside down, and then rub out the lines that are not needed or not correct.
Right.
Okay. I mean, you've got to get it so it looks symmetrical, basically. I've done this rather quickly, so it's not brilliant, but it is important that it's symmetrical. And the way to do it is to do it like that. Now, these jugs here, I mean, it'll have whatever it's got, a neck. Then you've got this one here. Now, this one is slightly lower down, further away from your eye level, and so is this one. So I would make them slightly more open.
Okay.
Again, I do it the same way. So you can see that that one is that height. This one is higher, is taller or wider, more open. And then this one, which is on the same line, I'd also do the same sort of thing. I'd say, okay, it's got to be more or less the same as that one, so it's going to be more like this.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you need to proceed with however the jug things are. Okay.
Yes, I think I'm good with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Lovely.